fires in the Lurch, in Melbourne and Brisbane. Avonwood Homes has also left hundreds of subcontractors with debts running into millions of dollars. The news that has added insult to injury for many families is that the builder's warranty scheme will not cover all their losses, and many will lose deposits or face higher completion costs for their unfinished homes with the introduction of the GST. Jeff Hutchison reports.
Your kids, your brothers, your sisters are going to suffer in the near future. So what do we want? Now! When do we want it? Now! Do you want your money back? Yes! Now! What do we want? Now!
On Saturday, more than 100 home buyers and their families gathered together to express their outrage about dream homes and futures they'd entrusted to one of Victoria's largest building companies, Avonwood Homes.
See what you've done to these people. What you happy with? Are you really happy with that, Avonwood? Okay.
We want it in
because you don't really care, okay? Because if you have a conscience, well, sorry to say, the devil's got it. Okay?
On Friday, the company went into provisional liquidation, leaving debts of $13 million, 562 unfinished building contracts, and 241 customers who had paid deposits. How much out of pocket conceivably will some of them be, do you think?
It could range for as little as $1,000 or $2,000, and in some cases it could be up to $30,000 or $40,000.
You know, the growth of most companies has been extremely rapid, and Avonwood is symptomatic of most. Most of them have actually taken on more than probably they were capable of, probably trying to do the right thing by customers and getting caught in that GST spiral.
The statutory builder's warranty scheme provides a general cover to consumers, but there are a significant number of Avonwood clients who have made stage payments well in advance or have paid large deposits without a building contract. They are the ones who stand to lose.
It means that the homeowner gets protection for that inflation gap between what their original contract was and the contract price that needs to be handled to complete the home. So that the gap, in my estimation, probably 70, 80, 90% of those people will finish up being not financially disadvantaged. It'll only be people that have maybe paid well in advance of where they should have been in the contract phase.
Well, I mean, at first they were saying that it's because of the GST and they couldn't keep up with the work and they had change of staff. I mean, it was all excuses. And then the final excuse was because of shortage of supplies. I mean, other builders are still building.
Yeah, you might be in a different position because you haven't actually signed a contract. You've only given the initial deposit.
Patrick Shembry is head of the Avonwood Action Group. This is the block of land he and wife Teresa hoped to build on. They sold their former home, rented a new one, and paid their $10,000 deposit. But all that money bought was a soil test. Now they'll try to recoup their losses and start again.
To put the rest of the family in the situation I've put them in, I didn't mean to do that because, like anything else, when husband and wife work, they're working for the benefit of the family and for the future of their kids. I mean, thanks to Avonwood, all that is out the window now, but I honestly didn't know when I was going to start this, that this is how it was going to end.
According to John Gaffney from the Housing Industry Association, both the company and its customers were the victims of the pre-GST building boom.
Well, it might not be legitimate to the customers who aren't terribly happy, but it's the reality of it. We've gone from building 19,000 houses a year to actually on an annualised basis building 50,000, and there just is a really significant skill shortage to the point where bricklayers moved from, say, $400 a thousand to lay bricks to $1,000 a thousand. So labour shortages mean much higher labour costs.
Avonwood Homes will not complete any contracts. It does not have that right any longer to complete those contracts.
Provisional liquidator Paul Patterson says negotiations are underway with half a dozen building companies interested in Avonwood's assets and contracts. But the consequences of the collapse are being felt as far away as Queensland, where 26 home buyers have been affected.
I was devastated when I found out, when David told me about it. It just felt my whole world collapsed because I just want to get in, you know, I want to get my life rolling, get the boys back at school, whatever, and just want to unpack.
This will have a very big impact on the building industry. Largely there'll be a loss of consumer confidence in entering into new building contracts. There's still the issue in regard to limited supplies. And there's the other concern is in regard to the tradesmen in particular, or the subcontractors, who many of them will now face bankruptcy.
But the biggest losers are the subcontractors. John Matsakis owns a painting business, and for 4 years Avonwood provided almost all his work. Now, in just a little over 4 weeks, he has just 7 of his once 30-strong workforce left and has had to refinance his house to stay afloat. Where are you at now?
Financial ruin.
Financial ruin?
Yeah, it's left everyone, family, my family, relatives, brink of where we go now.
How much were you owed?
I believe it's over 60,000.
And when did you first hear that there were problems?
When the cheque bounced.
And how long ago was that?
That was just before Easter.
And for the angry and the frustrated, well, they have to wait for building supervisors to come and assess their futures. They feel duped, they feel like mugs, and there's very little they can do about it. People are frustrated and angry, but they're not allowed to go into their homes.
Yes, it's illegal for anybody to go into the premises and seize property, and anyone who is found to be doing that, I will refer the matter to the appropriate authorities.
And do you know of people who've been trying to do that?
Yes.
In your heart of hearts, can you blame them?
No.
The sting in the tail, Jeff Hutchison with that report. Some Australian companies...
To the pyramid collapse of a decade ago.
Victims of the Avonwood collapse turned out en masse, anxious to hear what the provisional liquidator had to say. They've been in limbo since the home builder revealed its mammoth debts, many left with nowhere to go.
I have worked all my life to be where I am today. I am not prepared to take your answer to go to the Brotherhood of St Lawrence or the Salvation Army like many other people here have worked.
Not only are more than 1,000 homeowners left in the lurch, hundreds of uninsured subcontractors face an uncertain future.
We've been told by management and by supervisors, keep going ahead, it's all there, it's all going to. Where are we now?
For the homeowners, there was some good news, 79 builders putting up their hands to step in.
They're confident they'll be able to complete the works. I've got to be satisfied that they meet my criteria before I introduce them to the homeowners.
But for some, it's too little, too late.
I've lost a lot of money, which wasn't my money, it was the bank's money. Now, somehow, I've got to find some money to pay these banks back.
A preferred builders list will be ready by May 26th. They're expected to be on site 2 weeks later.
I've got 3 children in 1 bedroom, you know, we just don't know when it's going to stop.
The Master Builders Association has admitted the crisis has had a negative effect on the state's building industry, conceding the system can be improved.
It was a domino effect of events brought about by the huge peak in industry activity and the inability of the supply sector to meet the call.
The Master Builders Association is confident the feverish pre-GST rush on supplies will soon wane. Martine Griffiths, 10 News.
A newsagent and his daughter are recovering tonight after being back.
$1 million and 1,500 buyers and subcontractors affected. He says it's one of the worst company collapses in a decade. Charles Slade has the latest.
The alarming figures were released at a packed creditors' meeting at the Athenaeum Theatre. About 600 Avonwood victims besieged the liquidator with questions about temporary accommodation.
I am not prepared to take your answer to go to the Brotherhood of St Lawrence or the Salvation Army.
And about subcontractors' livelihoods.
You've spoken nothing of that. You've only spoken of what's insured. We are not insured for our wages. What happens to us?
Liquidator Paul Patterson revealed 1,051 families affected, about 400 contractors, debts of $14 million and insurance claims of $20 million.
The Avonwood collapse would be one of the biggest collapses that's occurred in the last 10 years.
He says a fire sale would only realise 10 to 20 cents in the dollar, so he's negotiating with 78 other builders to complete the work. Avonwood directors could face prosecution.
If there's been actions where the directors of the company have traded when the company is insolvent, then he'll refer that matter to the appropriate authorities.
With as many as 4,000 to 5,000 people now directly affected by the Avonwood collapse, there'll be another meeting here at the Athenaeum Theatre tonight at 7 o'clock. But it's unlikely to provide any more consolation.
It's just a nightmare, it's just shock.
Heartbreak. Well, it's very difficult I've got 3 children in 1 bedroom, you know, we just don't know when it's going to stop.
They're going to come and sell my home, the bank. So I really don't know where I'm going to go from here. I just don't know.
Thank you.
Thank you, I'm sorry.
Charles Slade, National 9 News.